Hello everyone, it's Valmore here. Welcome back to my kitchen. So after 18 recipes, as well as the 2 that I brought you from the uncommon section, this is going to be the final recipe from the Human Cuisine section of Heroes Feast. This recipe comes, again, from Icewind Dale, from the nomadic Reghed tribes. This is Reghed Venison Pot Roast. And even though the recipe calls for beef, I did try to find some venison. I couldn't find it in the cut that I needed though. So, misnomer aside, let's get started. So in this pot roast, there's going to be a whole head of garlic with the top chopped off, some dried apricots, carrots, onion, potatoes, and parsley. So I'm going to start by browning the meat. The Reghed humans are nomadic hunters of the frozen landscape of Icewind Dale. They tend to follow the migratory herds of reindeer across the tundra. The preparation of this dish with seasonal herbs and dried apricots is a ceremonial dish eaten to mark the beginning of winter. Now that the beef has been browned, I'm going to add in some onions, some bay leaves, and some salt. Now after letting the onions soften for a bit, I'm going to add some flour and some paprika. I'm just going to stir that together. Now I'm going to add some tomato paste. And now I'm going to add the wine and let that deglaze. And now I'm going to add the chicken broth, some chopped apricots, thyme, garlic bulb, and a little bit of salt. Now I'm just going to stir that together. I'm going to put the beef back in. I'm just going to cover it and put it in the oven for an hour and a half. Now that that's been cooking for about an hour and a half, hour 45, I'm now going to add potatoes, carrots, and some more dried apricots that have been cut in half. Now cover it back up, put it back in the oven for about another 2.5 hours. Alright, now that that's done, I'm going to take the meat out and let it rest for a few minutes. I'm going to take out the carrots and potatoes. And then I'm going to pour the liquid into the fat separator, and then I'm just going to turn that into gravy. Now I'm going to separate the liquid from the fat. I'm going to squeeze the garlic into a bowl, and then I'm just going to mash it up. And in my strained liquid, I'm going to add some parsley, my mashed garlic mixture. And I'm going to stir that up. I'll add a little salt and some pepper. And now I'm just going to cut this up into some nice chunks. Now on my platter, I'm just going to add some gravy and finish it off with some more parsley. So that was very tasty. The meat was tender, and the carrots and potatoes were perfectly cooked. The apricot added a little bit of sweetness, but I felt that if I wasn't getting some of the apricot in the bite, it was just underwhelming. And that may suffer a bit because it was just a few weeks ago where I made the Amphil braised beef, and that has been one of my favorite recipes so far from Heroes Feast. And the pear was much more pronounced. And I do have another cooking tip for you. This one I feel though is far more widely known over the pear syrup cook tip that I gave you. And that's to save the tops and the skins of the onions and the carrots, and even in this case the tops of the garlics that we cut off, and using them in stock. Another just great way to get the most out of your vegetables. Homemade stock is a great thing to have around. And so that brings us to the end of Human Cuisine. I hope you enjoy. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at chef_Velmore with the links in the description below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and come back next week for a halfling recipe.